All right, it is the next day since we saw you last. It was supposed to be raining. It's obviously not. Didn't really get much in the way of dew last night, at least not enough to make the beans pick up any moisture that I could tell. The pods were slightly tough this morning. I went over, actually when we first got up this morning, the sun was actually out. It's still kind of, you can see there's some blue right there. It comes and goes. But so I went over this morning, checked the beans, fueled the combine, greased it, checked the oil, all that fun stuff. They were still a little too tough for my liking, so went, hauled the load in that I cut last night. There was 270, but I thought that load was heavier the way it was hauling, but it was 270 bushel on there. So I don't think we're gonna make 40 bushel, but for as late as they were planted, and they didn't have the root system they needed when things got dry, I'll take what we can get, just the fact that there's beans there compared to what there was before we replanted them. So anyhow, there's not enough over there to justify taking the truck over, because they're not doing that great. So we're gonna hook on the gravity wagon, take that over there, fill it. I'm just gonna bring it back here, stuff it in the barns. We don't gotta waste time getting it hauled in. And then with any luck at all, we're gonna get moved to the last field, but we'll see how things progress. We're here. I'm gonna check these real quick, but so like I said last time, or in the last video, I was very dissatisfied with the people that were supposed to be out here filling the block permit. So basically, I'm trying to keep this story as succinct as possible. Another landlord I have, just about a half mile that way, there's corn on that field right now. Basically, he got me this field because he was friends with the previous owner. He used to hunt it, and due to health issues, he told me last year he was done hunting. Okay, so there's that. So I got the block permits, and the minute all my friends that hunt found out that I had block permits, I had like 10 people begging me to come out here and hunt. So I picked the 3 that I trusted the most and was gonna have them come out here and hunt. Landowner was okay with it, and everybody was okay with it. Well, the other landlord I have got wind that I was gonna have people out here hunting, and I was mowing the yard one day and I got a phone call from him, and it basically the sob story about how he'd always done right by me and he got me this field, and I really should have went and talked to him first about hunting it because he had some friends that wanted to come out here and hunt it, and blah 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 blah, which kind of irked me off a little bit. But trying to save face and make sure that I don't screw up the rental rights to 2 fields, I was like, okay, fine. I'll just give you all 10 deer tags, because I guess there's an ex-cop husband and wife, something or other, live down the road that are supposedly like avid big game, you know, super hunter types. And apparently most of their diet consists of deer meat, so they like killing deer and blah, 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 blah. And he wasn't going to come out here and hunt it himself, but he wanted them to come out here and hunt it. It's like, okay, fine, great, whatever. You promised to get all 10 tags filled. I'll just go ahead and give you all 10 tags. He's like, great. These two people, or this couple, will greatly appreciate it. We'll get your 10 deer taken care of, no problem. That was, when did that happen? End of June, I think. End of June, whenever it was. It only took, once I figured out what was going on out here, it only took me a week to get the block permit. So there's that. Fast forward to, I think it was after Rantoul, might have been like the first week of September. They finally shot the first deer out here. And that's the only one they've shot out here all summer. And they're giving the story, oh, it's been too hot and you're not gonna get the meat to keep if you shoot them, and then you can't. And it's like, at that point, you know, I'm trying to not screw up renting this other piece of land, so I didn't. But it's very frustrating, because I literally had people that were like, they were going to come out here and get them 10 tags filled because they wanted the freezer full. They had room, they do all their own processing, like getting it processed and in a freezer before the heat got it. It wasn't going to be a problem. I was going to have 10 dead deer like that. And it was sure wasn't going to be a problem getting 10 shot, because it was probably a week or two after they got the first one shot, I came out here to check on the beans, and I counted 14 deer back around the corner here before they started shuffling and moving back into the woods. There might have been more than that, so it's not like it wasn't a target rich environment. So needless to say, that's why there's still a bunch of deer damage out here. He says if we get any more off there, it's going to be this fall. And I just really wanted to say, well, that doesn't do me any good. I had 10 deer tags that needed filled this summer. I wanted them filled this summer, but oh well, it is what it is. So anyhow, that's the story with that. 10 deer tags for a block permit, only one got filled all summer. Needless to say, I'm not necessarily a happy camper about it, but at least there's a crop here, I guess, because before the replant there was zero crop. So give her a minute to warm up, and then we'll have at it. Shouldn't take very long to get this done. Oh, and you'll notice my angle going back across the field is rather aggressive. So I struck that out in the dark, and I thought I was going to come out back there by the corral. And I don't know if anybody's ever done this. You know, you strike a line out in the dark, you're like, yeah, you can't see anything on the other end of the field, you got no landmark, but you're looking at your rows and you're like, this is probably about right. I ought to come back out here right about here. And then I come back off pointing at that wood line. I'm like, guess that was a little steep. But anyhow, they're probably gonna end up somewhere 2 cents. Let's just see what's it gonna take to get. So I'm gonna guess there's another full hopper and a partial out there. I hope there's at least that much, but let's just say, and then 385 bushel. It'll at least make 35, which, since these were planted, they were probably only about 3 weeks away from being double crop beans. Can't really complain about that. And I think the other part of the problem was, like I said earlier, they got planted late enough. By the time they came up and got growing good, they didn't have enough of a developed root system like everything else had that came up on time and had, it was probably a better part of 3 weeks of growing or more on these. When it got dry, they didn't have the root system they needed, and because of their stature, and I think that hurt some too. But these actually, so I got free replant for this and where that spray damage. Well, basically the salesman at work, he's really trying to get me, he's really trying hard to get me to buy Brevant, which I'm not going to, because if he wanted me to buy Brevant, he would have started selling to me years ago when I started to do a business down there. And if you're not, but now that I work down there, all of a sudden it's a big deal that I start buying seed from there. But so he worked out a deal. Basically he told a little fib, and the like acre and a half of spray damage, the herbicide damage that needed replanted, that turned into like 20 bags worth of replant, which still ended up, these aren't Brevant beans. I had a friend, they still had their bean planter hooked up because they do double crop behind their wheat, and the planter was still full, and they'd buy I believe it's Golden Harvest beans, I think. I know they do Golden Harvest corn. I think they do Golden Harvest beans. Anyhow, so basically I wasn't gonna make them clean their planter out to replant all this stuff because they had enough units in the planter to plant everything they needed planted. So they just came and planted everything out or planted everything with whatever they had at the planter, which I'm pretty sure was a Golden Harvest. I thought he said they were a 2.7. Couldn't tell you the exact variety number, but anyhow, I'm pretty sure these were Golden Harvest beans, and then I just took the Brevant bags and gave them to them as payment. So it all worked out. But anyhow, there's that, or both of those stories. So pitter patter, let's get at her, since Mother Nature's gonna cooperate for a little bit. They're talking rain by like 4 or 5 o'clock, so right, well, if nothing else, this field is done, which I'd consider a win since it wasn't done last night. A decent little pile in there. It's 270, would have needed 440 to hit 40. So I don't think we got, what would that need to be? 200 and, or no, it's 30, 140, 170 bushel. I don't think there's that much in there. So I think we're north of 35. I just don't think we made it to 40. So anyhow, I'm gonna run this thing home, get it stuffed in the barn, come back and get the combine. I don't have my, I shut that door. I don't have the leaf blower with me, so I can't blow it off, but that's fine. We blow it off at the next field. There was no weeds out here, so we don't really need to worry about spreading seed. And fingers crossed we at least get a truckload in the next field. The beans are pretty dang nice. We're probably back up in the 60s, so yeah, hopefully at least get our truckload cut before the rain gets here. Alright, we're out here at the last 14 acres. There's this, and the other side of the tree line. This right here, there's like 8 or 9 freaking woodchucks living underneath this barn, and this was replanted once. You see the rows, kinda, but yeah, they ate the replant off too. Need to get some traps out here for them. Can't really shoot because there's buildings no matter which way you're aiming. But we got about an hour, and they moved the rain up to 3. We got about an hour and a half, so we'll see what we can do. Here, we might as well get what little bit is. None of it's probably going to make it into the head. Short-lived. I got my last pass done on this, hopped out of the combine to unfold the auger. It's like, huh, it's raining. So, but there was every bit of 60 bushel, if not more, off of just this little acre, even with the woodchucks ate off. So if we can get to it, this field's gonna turn out pretty good. But Dad's gonna go get that undercover, because they're saying when this stuff's supposed to cut loose, it's really supposed to cut loose, and I'm not gonna risk not having a tarp on the truck. I'm not gonna risk it. So I'm gonna blow this thing off, have Shelly come get me. So I guess with that being said, not a bad little unexpected day of cutting. I'll take what I can get. We're down to, with this gone, there's 13 acres left between these 3 pieces, so ish. So I guess with that being said, that's it for this one. We'll catch you guys on the next one. Okay, I lied. I got the combine all blown off and the rain quit, and I'm sitting here looking. I walk out and check the beans. It's like nothing happened. And I checked the radar, and now we've got another hour or so, or they're saying about 4 o'clock. It's 2:30, and it's a little after 2:30 now. But I feel like if I don't keep trying, I'm gonna, or don't keep going a little bit more, I'm gonna regret it. So I guess we're gonna keep on going. Hopefully. My fear is they say that this storm is supposed to come with hail. Of course, they said that about a lot of the storms that have come through this summer, and none of it ever happened. truck's level full. I got off, I actually got off and leveled it off. I was hoping to be able to get all that on there, but I don't think it's gonna fit. I don't think it would have fit, and it's starting to spit rain again, and so we're gonna, I mean, that right there is a pretty good day for not initially thinking that anything was actually going to happen. So, but with that, what I got done here, there's going to be like 5, I think that's 5 or 5.5, that's 3, so we're between like 8 and 9 acres ish left. So heck of a lot better than what I started off with this morning. We almost chewed it in half, chewed the number in half. So, but with that being said, I'm gonna once again get this thing cleaned up, and we'll call it a day, because storm's supposed to be here at 4, and now it's 4, and then they pushed it back to 4:30, and now they pushed it back to 4:45. It may or may not come at all, but I am satisfied with how the day went. So, with that being said, that's it for this one. We'll catch you guys on the next one for real this time.